we're very Detroity today. Yeah,
We are here in Detroit at Music Town, and Redferrin is here. Did you follow the playoffs at all so far? So the Tigers had a crazy run. Just a few months ago,
they were not good. Apparently.
There was a point in August. I think they said there was a 0.7 chance of us making the playoffs.
Really?
And they not only made the playoffs, but they made it past the first round. We ended up losing to Cleveland last week. But.
Yeah, my tour manager's a Guardians fan. We had to hear about that. My
that's a
girl's
bummer
from
for
up
him.
here, so she liked the Tigers. So I was just stuck between the two of them, trying to play both sides.
Well, the jersey looks good though.
Yeah, thank you. That was a little present I got when we got here this morning. And I love having a little hometown swag on when you go. I'm a Tennessee boy, but I love wherever we go. So
people will love it in Ferndale tonight.
And they'll love it. The Carhartt too, because you had a Carhartt on, and Carhartt's from here.
Yes, ma'am. That's pretty much all I wear. If you look at my closet, I think I got the biggest Carhartt collection in country. I'll stamp it right now.
Maybe is there an endorsement? It should be in the works, hopefully.
Lord, I hope so. I'd love a custom one day. Do a Redferrin Carhartt. That'd be bucket list.
Well, they're based here in Detroit, right? This is like where it all
I wanted
started.
to try to go see it, but I don't know if we're going to get to meet them today, but maybe next trip. If y'all know anybody, tell them pull up. I'd love to slide through.
We'll make some connections.
My ADHD wants to go right now and start texting people.
That's pretty much all that's on my bus is Carhartt and Mossy Oak.
Oh,
that's
about
awesome. All I wear. It's all I used to wear, and you ain't got to think twice about it if you just stick.
And they both go so well together. Like you'll never go wrong fashion-wise.
It ain't never going out of style.
Y'all are matching pretty good today.
You camoed up today. Come on.
I don't know where I got this.
Real treat.
How I got it. I feel like it might be my husband's. And I adopted it. But how did he would fit in this? He won't fit in this. Where did I get this?
I don't know.
I don't know where I got it. I probably got it at a thrift store or something like that. I like thrifting.
So we've been hearing about you for a long time, and it's good. It's good that you're finally here. But your story goes back, I think, probably even longer than most people know at this point, because you started it as a songwriter.
Yep. First 5 years in Nashville was signed to FGL and Tree Vibes Music, and it's really how I cut my teeth in town was them boys.
So when you first started, did you always feel like you wanted to be an artist, or did you feel like I'm okay with kind of being out of the main spotlight?
Like not having face fronting,
Well, when I first started doing it, it was kind of just a hobby, and then I didn't really know songwriting was a job. I thought you could like sell your songs as a ghostwriter. So at first I was really into being an artist, and when Tyler and Brian taught me about the songwriting world and said 30 minutes south, people make a living every day writing songs, and you can have a real family, you can do 9 to 5. I was like, well, that don't sound too bad, and I really enjoyed it those first 5 years, but I would say after COVID, my cuts kind of started slowing down, and I had a big pile of songs, and they were like, man, why don't you just start singing them? Like, we're going to start a little record label up, and you got 600 songs, you got 20 cuts. I think you got plenty to spare. So we just started rolling them out and kind of reawakened that dream. I gave up on it for a minute, and then I guess them encouraging me and telling me I could do it made me think I could. So I tried it again.
That is so crazy to hear. Yes, because we hear this a lot from artists. Like, I've written 1,000 songs, and you're like, I've got 600 songs. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm always like, what is it for you? Is there like some kind of something that you're like, all right, this is the song? Like, how do you choose between 600 songs? Yeah, well, like, how do you choose? You're like, all of these are my babies. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I feel like I've got a lot of old ones that I really love, but back in the day, I was writing for other people too. So I think sometimes I got caught in the trap of writing what I thought people wanted to hear instead of just telling stories. Mm-hmm. And when my publishing deal with Tree Vibes ended and I started writing for me, everything just became real stories again. And I think that's when, at least for my artistry, that's when people really started relating because they could see who I was. It wasn't just a catchy sounding song. I'm writing with Jason Aldean's hat on that day, trying to write what I think he would want to say or what Tyler would want to say. And
it's
never
business,
what I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm. Like more businessy where you're like, okay, what does he want? Yes, where it's like outwardly and it's not inwardly. So that's the difference. Yeah.
When it's something from your heart, something that you lived or something one of my good friends lived that we're writing about, it's just real easy to relate to it, and I feel like the songs kind of start to pick themselves.
Yeah.
Is that kind of how it was with the song that you had with Nelly? Is that it?
The Nelly song was really crazy how it came about. So my first year or two in Nashville, Tyler and Brian said, we can't really get you in the room with top writers, but we're in there with them every day, and if somebody cancels on us, we'll call you, and you got an hour to get there.
Okay.
And I remember one
So
morning.
wait, like how far do you live from this
They
place?
told me live like, we got a little apartment like 20 minutes from Music Row. And they weren't like, hard on the hour, but they were just like, you can't be fooling around. If we call you, we need you.
Right.
So Tyler called and he said, man, I'm writing with an artist today and our co-writer canceled. Can you get up here? And I was like, oh, sure, man. I never got to do a co-write with another artist besides y'all. And then about 10 minutes before Nelly gets there, we was out on the porch smoking. And he said, by the way, Nelly's coming in 10 minutes. Be cool when he gets here. And Country Grammar was my first CD. My sister was listening to that in Nellyville. So I'd never really been starstruck. Really, I'd never met too many celebrities, but I was nervous as hell when I knew Nelly was coming.
10 minutes is not enough time to be prepared for Nelly, by the way.
I feel like
that's a big energy.
Would you have rather like a longer, like, hey, and then Nelly, and then you have an hour?
I think they knew like this was actually a little bit smarter to go, hey, like this is happening. Because if you give yourself more time, you have more time to freak yourself out.
I didn't have too long to try to prepare, think about what he would want to hear. It was just like, oh, he's about to be here.
Oh, okay.
So I just had to be me, and I think that was a good lesson for me. Just show up ready every time, whatever time,
and he is one of we got to catch up with him at Stagecoach I think a couple of years ago, and
he's
just
so nice,
one of the
so funny,
coolest,
fun,
funniest people to hang out with.
His energy's amazing. Like when we wrote Little Bit, he stood up the whole time and he kept being like, get off the couch. How you gonna write a song make people dance if you sitting on you? I'm like, all right, we'll get up. So he made us stand up the whole time.
Wow.
And he's just dancing and vibing, and it's hard to not it was hard to not have an up tempo banger like that with that energy in the room.
Well, that's an interesting process too.
Do you remember what you were doing when you got the phone call? Is that like a moment that you'll probably always remember?
Man, honestly, I was just sitting at home having coffee, picking guitar. It's kind of what I always did. And, I just started learning how to record my own vocals. So I spent a lot of time in the mornings tinkering with Logic and stuff at that time. So I was just probably piddling around and had to get out of my sweats and get up there and look presentable in 20 minutes, I
was going to say, I thought you might have been riding dirt bikes or something.
No,
you're in the motocross too, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, like
I ain't had much time for it since I got into all this.
I bet.
But you went pro. You went pro? I don't want to misspeak.
Yes,
you went pro.
Yeah, I got to do arena cross for 3 years. That was my first dream. And it taught me a lot. I think it's really similar to this lifestyle because you're traveling a lot and there's only one person number one every week and everybody's chasing them, So it was a lot of fun, though. It kept me out of trouble growing up. All I wanted to do was ride my dirt bike. So that's pretty much the thing. If my dad said, if you work and you stay out of trouble, we'll do all we can to get you to the track. So.
I always make the wrong dirt bike sound. Like, remember when we were
What's
talking about dirt? I go,
sound?
and Rob says that that's not it.
It's more of a brap.
Yeah, see, that's it.
Well,
I feel like mine's more
the
realistic.
two-stroke,
Yeah, facts.
like the old school two-stroke.
Well, it is a four-stroke.
Yeah, what is
I
that
don't even know how to make
four
that.
strokes are.
You don't know how to make that
That's
sound?
what I ride, but I don't know the best sound.
Four strokes kind of sound like farts. That's what they.
Oh, really?
Like I remember.
It's a little deeper.
Okay.
I remember when I was younger. This is like. I remember when we first started going to Supercross when I was a kid. It was all two strokes. And there'd be like one four-stroke every once in a while you'd hear going, buh, buh, buh.
Oh, so that is the sound.
And the rest
there
of the
you
people
go.
would be like, brap, brap, brap.
And that Supercross comes to Detroit. Where do they race out here?
Ford Field, where the
Ford Field.
Detroit Lions play.
So wait a second. I don't really know a lot about Supercross. Are you flying over like, when you go up really high?
Yes, ma'am.
You're doing that?
That's what I did for a long time.
What? You're nuts.
Did you ever have any major injuries or anything? Or
Yes, sir. I probably broke 30 bones over the whole time I was racing. I raced from the time I was 6 till I was 25.
So what is it for you?
My Lord.
I used to ride, and after I had one, I broke my elbow, and for me,
elbow is one of the worst.
I was like, after that, I was like, I don't really. This was a horrible experience, but I know I had a buddy that was went to high school with who was a pro, and he has broken every bone in his body, and he just keeps doing it. I remember him riding around with a neck brace one time, and I'm like, after he broke his neck, and I go, dude, please stop, please stop.
My mama begged me. She's like, I don't know why you want to keep hurting yourself, and. I just loved it so much. It's the most free feeling in the world. And at the time, that was the only way I thought I could make a good living and try to take care of my family was dirt bikes. It was either that or be a doctor, and that felt like a real long shot.
Yeah.
But
it also sounds, it's not exciting.
Yeah,
Not nearly as fun.
But
Do you feel
but
like
your poor mom? I was
can't
gonna
make-
say that your poor mom, because as a mom, I'm like, oh, can we not do anything that
Well,
breaks
eventually,
bones?
you know, there's like you can't make no money riding a dirt bike if you can't ride it. If your arm's always
That's
broke
a
or something.
good.
So
Yeah.
That's a good
I
point.
crashed in the Georgia Dome and knocked myself out and broke my arm, and that was my last pro race. And sold my bikes and moved down to Nashville.
It all seems to work out though.
Somehow, yeah, it was a leap of faith. I mean, I didn't really have much choice. I didn't have a job besides riding, and I couldn't do it. So I just sold my bikes and lived off the money that I had from them until I finally got a publishing deal. It was a long year. I just had to trust that there was something good at the end of it.
What a great story.
Do
I
you
love this.
do you feel like you get some of the same adrenaline rush from flying through the air as you do playing in front of a crowd?
I think so, for sure. Yeah, honestly, it's when you're riding, everything's going by so quick, and sometimes the shows feel slow motion. It's almost like you can soak it up. It's that same kind of high, same kind of energy, but it's a little more like palatable, if that makes sense. You can kind of take it in where everything's usually just flying by you so quick, and there's 40 other guys.
Yeah.
At the show, it's just you and your band, so and the people there for you, you know, so little easier on you, a little easier on the ego.
Lots safer as well.
All right, let's.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this song and the shot glass that you guys sent us. They have a shot on Redferrin.
I'm so
This is
glad that
great.
showed up.
Just like Johnny, which this is my son's name is Johnny. We call him
that's
Johnny.
sweet. Come on.
So I was like, oh my God. And the song is great. And we want to get the story behind it. And we
Yes,
asked
ma'am.
3 important, well, I added 4, by the way. I've been adding the 4th.
It's a lot of
So
questions.
it's a lot of questions. It is, where were you? What were you thinking? What were you drinking? And who were you with
Okay.
when this song came to be?
All right, hit me with that again.
Where were
Where
you?
was I? I was at my buddy Michael Wilshire's house. He got a little studio and a little shack behind his house there that we write and record in.
A song shack.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then
Micah's Song Shack. That's what he needs to call it.
what were you thinking?
Well, honestly, how I got the title originally, my mama had a brother named Johnny, and everybody always used to say I act just like him. And my sister said that one day. She said, "You look just like Johnny." And I was like, "Well, that's cool. I can't write a song about Uncle Johnny, but that sounds badass."
Yeah.
Sounds like a good Johnny Cash record. So that kind of just got my wheels spinning. And I'd heard that Megan Maroney song, you know, Why Johnny? And you never really hear like the dude side of it, or like it's always "I'll love you forever." It's never that real spill.
Yeah.
So I felt like it might be a fresh take on something that we've heard a few times, and that's kind of where that one stemmed from anyways. Yeah.
And then what were you drinking?
We was drinking espresso first half of the morning, and then we had a little smoke and a little Jack Daniels on the back half of it right before we sang, you know, put a little smoke on the vocals.
Yeah.
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 And then who were you with?
It was just me and Michael Wilshire.
Okay.
So a lot of my songwriting early on was, you know, 3-ways and 4-ways and a lot of people in the room. But I feel like when you start telling those real personal stories and wanting to pour your heart into it, it's either got to be a big group of people you know that know you, or you just kind of got to be with one person that can be a good medium and just let you flow. So
Okay.
that was one of those rare days where I just came in on a burner and it kind of just fell out. And we were so tickled. We didn't really know what we had because it sounded a little different, but we just kept chasing it.
It's so good.
Thank you so much.
So old number 7, the EP's out now.
Yes, sir.
And when you're writing now, you're talking about, you know, finally starting to just pour your heart and soul into it.
Yes,
What
sir.
is most inspiring to you right now? Like if you were to go to write a song tonight after the show, if inspiration strikes, what do you think the theme kind of is for you right now?
That's a great question. So I've been working on a new EP the last couple months, and we've been on the tour bus. I ain't really been home a lot since probably March. And a lot of it is like places I've been. I wrote one in London that we call it, it's as long as there's a bar, but we call it London Town. I got Good Morning Montana. Like we got a lot of these songs, like we would just be somewhere and somebody would say something about the place, and then we'd write what we was living. So, you know, I traveled a lot when I was racing, but it was all little farm towns where tracks was. So seeing cities and seeing different cultures and leaving the country for the first time, it's really awakened a side of me I didn't know I had. And, you know, you hear some different music or you hear different sayings places you go, and it's kind of feels fresh for me. It's not all White House music. It's a White House boy's view of the world, you know?
Right.
So it's pretty fun pack. I can't wait to share this.
It's like a little road trip with Redferrin.
Yeah.
It's like a little,
Yeah, I was saying on the way over here, Motor City sounds like a banger that could go on that project.
Let's go.
Yeah, I like it.
Put it in your notes in your phone. Make sure not to forget about it.
We wrote it on the way. We wrote it on the way for sure. Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for stopping by Music Town here in Detroit, and good luck at the show tonight.
For me.
We love ya.
Love and Touch in Ferndale, Michigan.
Yeah, come on out, y'all. Sold out, I think, but we might have a few we can hide outside or something. I'll let y'all know.
Sneak in the back door.
Yeah.
Redferrin here at Music Town.
Thank y'all.